and alone, and Scott scores! Brad Marchand has won it for the Panthers. His parents celebrate his second of the night, shorthanded early, and a game winner in the second overtime period.
Welcome to 32 Thoughts, the podcast presented by the GMC Sierra AT4X11. The Stanley Cup final through 2 games as it shifts to Florida for games 3 and 4. Elliot, history has shown some of the great games over the course of time have ended in a 5-4 scoreline. We will get to game 2 in just a moment, but first you have some thank yous you want to get off your chest before we proceed.
Yeah, Kyle, as you may be aware, when I'm walking, I'm kind of a space cadet, and I don't often pay attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah, that doesn't just apply to walking.
No, that's true, actually. That's very good. There's a lot of those situations in life I kind of put myself in. And I'd like to thank 2 members of Edmonton's finest, Brad and Jordan, who helped extricate me from something I shouldn't have gotten myself into. So I wanted to say thank you very much. And also, I wanted to shout out Gabriel, one of the elevator operators here at Rogers Place, because Dave Amber and I took the elevator down from our perch to the dressing rooms after the game, and he looked at Dave and said, "Are you the anonymous caller?"
Oh, yes!
I loved it. I have to tell you, I think there were at least 4 times tonight during the game somebody came up to Dave and asked him if he was the anonymous caller, and he was with each time he was getting exponentially more annoyed. We'll talk about this a bit more in the thought line, but Kyle, once again, our listeners have outdone themselves. Nobody wants this to end more than Amber does, and he remains a key suspect in this mystery.
Man, well, now it makes sense, because I thought, David seemed rather short with everybody when you were making your overtime picks in the intermission on Friday night, and now I know why.
He took out practically the entire overtime when he did that.
Exactly. You almost missed Marchand's goal. Wow. All right. Well, that's great. Sounded like another fantastic night in Edmonton, Elliot.
Epic.
Wow. What a start to this series through 2 games here now. Brad Marchand, the hero, 63 career playoff goals for number 63. Over the last 3 years, Elliot, we've talked about the Panthers are the great closers in playoff time. That streak came to an end in game 1. You could say that they blew the save late in game 2, but in extra innings or double overtime in this case, Marchand, the hero, they head back home with a series split, and you're kind of sitting there thinking, yeah, it's fitting given what we've watched through the opening 2 games of this final.
What an epic start to the final. Kyle, all you ever hope for as a fan of a sport or someone who's covering it or someone who's invested in it in any way, shape, or form is that your biggest games live up to what you hope they will be. And we were lucky with that in February with the 4 Nations tournament. We got an epic series and an epic few games and an epic final and a great Saturday night. And here we have 3 overtimes in 2 games, a phenomenal start to the final. You couldn't have asked for anything better. I thought Matthew Tkachuk said it best after this game. It's been 2 great games. You could be 2-0, you could be 1-1, you could be 0-2. Like, there's not much different between these 2 teams. And, one thing we're learning, Kyle, is that in each of these games, it's going to be punch, counterpunch. There's going to be times the Panthers dominate. There's going to be times the Oilers dominate. There's going to be times the Oilers look like they're playing the old Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope. There's going to be other times the Panthers look like they're doing the Muhammad Ali rope-a-dope. And then the counterpunch comes and the momentum shifts. And there's no difference between these 2 teams. Like, there's very, very little to pick between them. It's a series where everyone's contributing. Everyone's throwing hits. Everyone's throwing their bodies in front of pucks. Nobody's taking shortcuts. Everybody's trying to cheat the officials and icings and everything like that. Like every advantage people are trying to get, they're trying, like between the referees and the goaltenders, everybody is trying to do something to gain that little extra 1 or 2%. And it's great hockey. You cannot say that these players are cheating anybody in these two games.
No, it's been fantastic to watch. And it was fitting that you showed the video during one of the intermissions of Marchand scoring 14 years ago to the day the shorthanded goal in Game 3 of the 2011 final against Vancouver, because Roberto Luongo, who of course is now part of Florida's management team, puts out the post after he scores the winner that he's his favorite player of all time. How about that for a full circle moment?
Oh, so I guess some of Kevin's former teammates texted him and said, can you believe Elliott just really showed that? And like, there are some people who say to me, you let Kevin get away with too much against you, and you have to start hitting him below the belt more. And I always say the difference between Kevin and I is I have a governor and he doesn't. And I thought we had to air that because shorthanded breakaway goals 14 years apart on the exact same day, you can't not show that. But I made myself a point. I'm not going to take a shot at Kevin. The honest truth is that is the one thing I will not poke fun at Kevin about, because going to the Stanley Cup Final Game 7 and losing like that, it sucks. And if our shoes were reversed, Kevin would probably trash me anyway. If our situation was reversed, Kevin would probably trash me anyway. But that is one, I'll show the highlight, but that is one thing I will never take shots at Kevin for. Never. That is over the line for me. So it wasn't actually a shot at Bieksa. It's just like it happened. You have to refer to it.
Yes, very fair. I'm with you on that one. And the one thing with Marchand is and it started really, you got the sense during all the great media he did through the Four Nations, and now during this playoff run, he's talked about this stage of his career, and he's not the only player that arrives at this conclusion when he gets to kind of where Marchand is at here now, but appreciating the moments that he once used to take for granted. And it's not that he didn't appreciate it maybe necessarily back then, but he says as a younger guy, you're so wired all the time and focused on, okay, what's next, as opposed to taking a deep breath and just enjoying where you're at for a few moments. And that whole headspace has really fueled, I think, what's been great about him. And, you go back to the Dairy Queen comment with the interview we did with him last round that caught like wildfire online. And